Hi, if you're getting into this video, I recommend using the subtitles to help you guys understand me. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is the second game in the series. The first game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, released back in 2019, and the sequel came out in 2023. The game is published by EA and developed by Respawn Entertainment, the same studio behind Apex Legends, Titanfall, and Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. When Jedi Survivor launched, it received a mixed reception, and that was mostly because of technical problems. Players reported unstable frame rates, stuttering, and general performance issues across all platforms. At the time, many people believed that this was caused by DRM. However, Digital Foundry later made a video explaining that a lot of the performance issues were actually hard-coded into the game. That meant the problems could not be fully fixed without major changes to how the game was built. That said, performance has improved since launch. After DRM was removed in 2024, players notice better stability. With the right settings, you can even get a smooth, stable 60 frames. For example, turning off ray tracing using high settings is sort of epic, and turning off resync/frame rate generation can also make a big difference. Cutscenes in particular can lag if certain settings are enabled. Even with all these tweaks, there are still some hitching here and there because of how the game was developed. Respawn Entertainment used Unreal Engine 4 for this project. I honestly expected better performance, especially from such an experienced studio, but as many developers have said, it's not just about the engine, it's also about how the engine is used. Still, it is disappointing that such a strong game has technical problems. Anyways, that's enough background information. Let's get into this review. I'll go over the good, the bad, and my overall opinion about the game. Starting with the gameplay, this is easily one of the most enjoyable action-adventure systems I've played in a while. The game balances combat, platforming, and puzzle solving extremely well. When combat starts to feel intense or tiring, the game shifts into platforming. When platforming starts to feel repetitive, you get a puzzle section that forces you to slow down and think. This constant switching keeps the experience fresh and stops it from feeling like you're doing the same thing over and over again. Combat still inspired by Souls-like games just like Fallen Order. You have to manage stamina, time your dodges and parries, and learn enemy patterns. However, you do not need to be a hardcore Souls player to enjoy this game. The game includes multiple difficulty options that makes it accessible to everyone. There is story mode, easy, normal, hard, and grandmaster. I personally played on normal, which felt well balanced for me. It offered a decent challenge without it being too frustrating. Enemy variety is another highlight. There are over 30 enemy types in the game, and honestly it might be even more than that. You fight everything from standard stormtroopers, dangerous creatures, and powerful bosses. Some enemy types only appear a few times, which feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, but overall, the variety keeps the combat interesting throughout the game. One of the best additions in Jedi Survivor is the expanded lightsaber stand system. There are 5 stands that you can choose from, and each one has its own skill tree, animations, and playstyle. The single blade stand is balanced and familiar. The double bladed stand is great for crowd control. Dual wielding is fast and aggressive. The cross guard stand is slower, but hits much harder. Then there's the blaster stand, which combines a lightsaber with a blaster for range attacks. I used the blaster stand for most of my playthrough because I like the flexibility it gives me. Every stand feels unique, and the game does a great job of letting players choose the style that fits them best. Now let's talk about the story. Just like Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor delivers a strong and emotional narrative. The writing is well paced, and the characters feel more developed this time around. Both returning characters and new ones stand out and leave an impression. The enemies are also a big step up. Instead of just having one main villain with a few forgettable side enemies, this game structures multiple major antagonists. Each one has their own motivations and personality, which makes the story even more engaging. I also really appreciate that the story takes itself seriously. Emotional scenes are allowed to be emotional. Sad moments are not constantly interrupted by jokes. It might sound like a small thing, but it's actually very refreshing. A lot of modern stories try too hard to be funny all the time. Jedi Fallen Order knows when to be serious, and that makes some big moments hit much harder. Exploration is another area where the game shines. The planets are larger and more open-ended than Fallen Order, but plenty of area to discover. What I like most is that the rewards for exploration are mostly cosmetic. You find new hairstyles, beards, outfits, and colors for Cal and BD1. Some players might prefer gear with stat boost, but I personally like the system more. It kept the focus on the gameplay rather than inventory management. You're not constantly comparing numbers or worrying about the small percentage upgrades. You explore the game because it's fun and you want to customize the character. The biggest negative is still the performance. Even after patches and updates, Jedi Survivor does not run as smoothly as it should. There's still frame drops, stutters, especially in busy areas. Since many of these issues are tied to how the game was built, there's only so much the player can do to improve the performance. If you're very sensitive to the performance issues, this is something you should definitely keep in mind. I recommend checking recent performance reviews for your platform before buying the game. Side content is another weak point. Instead of traditional side quests, the game introduces something called rumors. These are optional activities that you can discover while exploring. The problem is that many of them are very gameplay focused and do not add much to the story. Some are fun and lead to cool locations or boss fights, but others feel like filler. The rewards are also a mixed bag. Sometimes you get something interesting and other times it feels underwhelming. Overall, this is a game with far more positives than negatives. For me, the strong storytelling was the main reason I enjoyed it so much. On top of that, the combat is satisfying, the stances add a lot of variety, and the mix of platforming and puzzle solving keeps the gameplay from being boring. Exploration is also rewarding and a fun and cosmetic focused way, which I really appreciated. Performance was definitely frustrating at first. I couldn't hit a stable 60 FPS at 2K even with an RTX 4080, which is insane, but after tweaking the settings, it got stable enough to enjoy the experience. The side content wasn't that great, but it didn't ruin the experience for me since I was mainly interested in the main story. Still, I understand why some players might have been disappointed, especially since many other modern games have raised the standard for side quests a lot. With all the updates, performance improvements, and a cheaper price compared to launch, I think Star Wars Jedi Survivor is absolutely worth checking out in 2026. If you like Fallen Order, there's a very high chance that you enjoy this game as well. Thank you for watching this video. Leaving a like, comment, and subscribing would mean a lot. I'll see you guys next time with another video.